here's what we know at this hour about the deadliest mass shooting in U.S. history. At least 49 people killed, plus the shooter, and 53 others wounded after 29-year-old gunman Omar Mateen of Fort Pierce, Florida, opened fire at a nightclub, declaring his allegiance to ISIS during the attack. Officials sweeping his home this morning. He was on the FBI's radar, interviewed multiple times, and so much tragedy now left in his wake.
And the work to save the victims continues right now. There were 26 operations done on the victims, so much blood needed, and so many people turned up to donate, they had to be turned away. We're going to talk to Jen Ashton about that coming up. She's going to hospitals down here to talk about the response. But right now, we want to get to ABC's Lauren Lister. She's here with us right here. You were one of the first reporters on the scene early Sunday morning. You have the latest right now.
I do, George. In the last 24 hours, new and frightening details continue to emerge about how this all went down. But as we are learning more about the tragedy and the suspect at the center of the investigation, we're also hearing tales of survival and heroism.
This morning, a city grief-stricken, trying to recover just a day after the deadliest mass shooting in American history. Inside Orlando's nightclub Pulse early Sunday, terror and carnage.
And out of nowhere, I just hear, and it was just like an automatic gun.
Police identifying the lone gunman is Omar Mateen. His shooting spree killing at least 50, injuring 53 others. At 2:02 a.m., police respond to a call of shots fired. The shooter, armed with an AR-type rifle and handgun, declaring his allegiance to ISIS, spraying bullets through the packed club. Some able to flee, many trapped inside.
Didn't look back, just ran to get out of there. That was my first instinct.
3 hours later, police moving in on what they say had become a hostage situation. SWAT officers exchanging gunfire with the suspect, killing him in the crossfire. And along with tragedy, stories emerging of survival.
It's a lot of screaming and a lot of running. And I saw the fire coming out of his gun every time he shot it.
And tales of fierce heroism. Jeanette McCoy says her friend Angel Colon, seen here recovering in a hospital, was running right behind her, shielding her from the gunfire, taking a bullet as they fled.
I was able to get out, and the only reason is because of Angel, because he got shot.
President Obama calling the massacre an act of terror.
This is a sobering reminder that attacks on any American, regardless of race, ethnicity, religion, or sexual orientation, is an attack on all of us.
More than 100 miles from the attack, bomb squads, local authorities, and the FBI searching the suspect's apartment complex as we learn more about the man behind the shooting. His ex-wife telling ABC,
"This was a sick person that was really confused and went crazy."
But despite the darkness, there was also light vigils held around the country overnight. One of those gatherings, George, not far from right here.
Okay, Lauren, thanks very much. I want to go to Brian Ross right now, our chief investigative correspondent up in New York. And Brian, we've just had another briefing here from the FBI and other police officials, and you have new information on the final moments of that massacre.
That's right, George. The dramatic details of what happened in that final moment. The police believe that most of the victims were killed in the initial shooting. And then for 3 hours, the gunman Mateen held them off, talking on the phone, making his pledge of allegiance to ISIS. The police chief says he decided at some point there was an imminent threat to the remaining people inside, about 15 people in one bathroom, 4 or 5 in another. He made the decision to go through the walls. First, they set off explosives, did not pierce the wall. They then used an armored vehicle to go through the walls. The chief describes the moment when 12, 13, 14 of the people inside, the hostages, fled through the wall, and then the gunman himself came outside, and that's where the final gun battle took place, where he was killed, George.
Okay, Brian Ross, thanks very much. Compelling information there. I want to go to Pierre Thomas. He's down here in Orlando this morning, our senior justice correspondent. And Pierre, so many questions this morning about how Omar Mateen slipped through the cracks, despite being investigated twice by the FBI, interviewed on 3 different occasions, and being able to purchase weapons in just the last few days.
George, this is a huge issue. This could happen again. This is a situation where the system simply did not blink red. You saw at the press conference, I just asked the FBI senior official here, why didn't the counterintelligence and counterterrorism agents know that that man was buying guns, even though he had been interviewed by the FBI? We're told today that the FBI director may hold a briefing to discuss how this could have happened. This question is a serious issue going forward, and they know they have to deal with it because of all the pressure the FBI is under. They have 800 ISIS-related investigations ongoing right now throughout this country. Imagine if information is not being shared like this information. Again, George, this could happen again.
Yeah, they are going to have to answer these questions, Pierre Thomas. Thanks very much.